All right, so when the first GM Viper arrived, when it was first debuted, it took the auto industry by storm because this V10 fucking race car just pops up out of nowhere and just like steals everybody's thunder. Like, this was the go-to car if you wanted a sports car. This car pressed GM so badly, they decided to come up with a supercar of their own to combat this beast, because the LT5 wasn't gonna compete with this thing, and damn sure the LT1 wasn't gonna compete with this. Nothing GM had in their lineup was gonna compete with a Dodge Viper. Nothing. So GM decided to employ the services of Ryan Faulkner. No, not the actor, dumbass. We're talking about Ryan Faulkner Racing. He's worked with Shelby America, Andy Granatelli, and a lot of other Le Mans racers and IndyCar racers and things of that nature. And together, GM and Ryan Faulkner decided that this big-ass behemoth was going to go into their car. They had created a V12 that was based on their small block Chevys, and it made close to 700 horsepower and 680 foot-pounds of torque. What did they throw it in? I'm glad you asked. I'll show you, because this thing is crazy. They dropped this V12, which was just under 10 liters, inside a stretched ZR1 C4 chassis. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Imagine if they had went through with this, because there's only one in the whole entire world. This would have been the most powerful car, like, in the world at the time. But this is what killed it. Okay, so the ZR1 was already on its deathbed because nobody's trying to buy this car. Nobody was going to buy the LT5 that powered the ZR1. Nobody cared for it. The C4, the base level C4 was already underperforming. All right, so you mean to tell me to get even more horsepower, we'd have to pay like $50,000 more for the ZR1? The Faulkner V12 that powers the ZR12, aka the Faulkner Corvette, which is this thing, was already $45,000 to produce. Just one of them. Just one now. Not to mention it was 100 pounds heavier than the LT V8 options. It makes closer to 700 or right at 700. Some sources say 668, others say 683, but the definitive horsepower number for this thing is definitely 700. After GM killed off the Faulkner Corvette, you know, this was supposed to be like an experimental or whatever the fuck they were supposed to be doing. You wouldn't see like a 600 horsepower factory Corvette till 2009 when they dropped the ZR1 again, and boy did it deliver. Love you. Viper guys, I'm on y'all ass early this morning because y'all thought y'all got away. I'm back on y'all ass, actually. These Vipers are nastier than a racist white woman who secretly loves interracial porn. We're talking nastier than a hotel bed under a UV light. You got two type of Viper owners. You have the normal 800 to 1200 horsepower Vipers. Then you got the 2,000 to 3,000 horsepower Calvo Viper guys. These guys are nasty. When I say nasty, we're talking a car that sounds like... It sounds like one big church choir humming a Kanye West song. I'm talking about this car nasty without twin turbos. But when you add twin Hoochie Mama hair dryers, you get a goddamn animal. And these guys are not to be played with. If you don't have at least 15 to 2,500 horsepower, do not challenge no Calvo Viper. Okay, quick disclaimer before I start roasting Kia. Kia Stinger guys, this is not for y'all, so no friendly fire there. But Kia boys, I gotta get on y'all ass. Bro, to think there are actually people that swear up and down Kia can compete with anything is freaking hilarious. Man, from the mid-90s all the way to the early 2000s, Kia has never been the type of vehicle you just go, ooh, I want to drive the shit out of Kia. Literally in 2008 on up, probably 2013, 2012-ish, when they came out with the Genesis, is like the first time that they were actually doing great. But early 2000s to mid-90s, these motherfuckers stayed with blown head gaskets and overall poor Korean engineering. But you have guys that steal these and flex them like they're Mercedes-Benz. You need to slap the shit out your